3, 2, 1. Hing, hang, hung. That's a quote from Pillion. I'm Adam. This is Sardonicast. I'm Adam from the YouTube channel YMS or Your Movie Sucks or whatever. Hi, how's it going?
Hi. How's it going?
Hey, I'm Alex from IG.
Hi.
And I'm going to say, my whole body's just quivering with cleanness.
Is that from Pillion?
Yeah, I think that was in Pillion, right? Or was it Hamnet? I can't remember.
No, in Pillion, it was quivering from dirtiness.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Jake from Man Carrying Thing and Woman Carrying Man. LOVE. This hand, dear hearts, whatever, it's the hand of goodness and all that bullshit. Anyways. How are we doing? I'm very sleep deprived. I know, Adam, you were the same.
Yeah. I'm also sleep deprived. Alex is doing great.
I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
more
isn't
energized
that
than
nice?
normal. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
What are they putting in the tea over there? Tell me.
Loads and loads and loads of caffeine.
Okay.
That's the secret.
I need some of that.
That is the secret. If you can handle it.
What was that show where they did like a sketch at some point and they said that like...
Saturday Night Live.
No, it wasn't Saturday Night Live.
Okay. Whitest kids you know.
No, it was an...
Kids in the Hall.
No, it was like an animated thing. It might have been from PFFR, but there was like some sequence where they were talking about how anyone's happiness is like stealing from someone else's happiness on the other side of the world. It might have been Wonder Shows.
Oh, okay. That's kind of a funny concept, though.
I don't know. That's how we feel right now.
Yeah.
We can't all be fully charged, you know. We have to maintain the balance.
Especially the people listed in the Epstein files. They cannot be fully charged.
That's a great point.
Damn, we're going straight to the files.
That's a wonderful point.
You know, I think it's crazy that people aren't talking about it in their platforms that they have on every fucking episode that they do. I think it's fucking crazy that people have platforms and aren't fucking talking about it. So yeah, it is going to come up all the fucking time.
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is wild.
We all watched Hamnet.
Is Shakespeare on the files or what? What's going on?
Yeah.
Probably.
That's a weird transition.
That was an interesting segue, yeah.
Well, I needed to do a hard cut before I went on just an unbelievable rant.
Yeah, the sleepier you get, the more political activism you do.
The more angry I get.
Yes.
And you won't. Well, actually, people do like me when I'm angry. That's kind of my whole brand. So
that's kind of very baby brain syndrome when you think about it. I mean,
being angry?
When you're tired. I mean, God,
I guess everybody's got a little bit of BBS.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. This really says a lot about society.
Speaking of baby brain syndrome, Hamnet.
I know, right? Actually.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. So, like, the last time this film came out was when Louise was a guest, and she was the only one who'd seen it at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And she said a couple things, which I kind of disagree with. Now I've seen it.
Sure.
We can get into this.
What was her take again? I'm forgetting.
She had two major quibbles from memory. One was Jessie Buckley's performance, and the other was this idea that it was about Shakespeare in any way was kind of like obscured or hidden and framed as a reveal of some kind. I kind of disagree with both of those things in spades.
I disagree with that. I didn't see that.
I didn't get that either, but I have read other comments of people saying they got that, and so I'm a little confused.
I mean, isn't it like implied the second you sit down that it's about Shakespeare? Like, is anyone surprised?
It's like the premise.
I think it's implied through the title Hamnet.
Yeah, and also the opening quote is just like about Hamnet and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
I feel like that's not a surprise. It's just kind of like, I don't know. But I am seeing people note that as like, oh, that was lame. There are other parts in it that I think is lame connection to Shakespeare, but...
Yeah, agreed.
What was the moment where it would have been the reveal? Because I was like checked in and out throughout the film.
I believe it's when the brother and Jessie Buckley's character, so Joe Alwyn and Jessie Buckley, arrive to London, and he's like, we're looking for William Shakespeare.
Oh, do they say it like that?
No, but
Okay. Well, you know what could be the case is that if people saw this theatrically and maybe there were some crowd gasps at that moment, like maybe there's a chunk of people that didn't know before going into the movie.
they don't know that Hamlet was written by William Shakespeare, because earlier in it they talk about going to watch Hamlet. Wait, that Hamlet?
I mean, it's like a Kimba Simba situation. They're two different things potentially, right? Just because it's a letter off.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but to put it simply, this movie has a complicated relationship, or not even complicated, it's just kind of stupid relationship to Shakespeare.
Toxic.
I don't know.
Problematic.
I have feelings and thoughts about this movie.
Please, I'm actually really interested in what you think.
Yeah, I don't know where we all stand.
Shall I start?
Yeah, you go for it.
I was pretty interested in this film from like the first hour into it before the big thing happens, which I don't even think is a spoiler.
Yeah, who cares? Spoiler alert, everybody.
It's kind of the premise.
The kid fucking he dies. He just fucking dies.
Yeeted.
Yeah, it's the plague, right? The plague is spreading.
The plague. He gets the plague. He gets got by the plague.
He got yeeted by God.
Yeah, and not only that, he's just like, hey, I'll trade places with you, twin sister. And the plague is just like, yeah, sure, we do that. And then he dies. And, you know...
I forgot about that part. A very noble Will Smith I Am Legend sacrifice for the child.
I like how it's really spelled out. Just like, listen, I'm going to trade places with you. And... like, it was fun. Like, the thing is, I think the kid actors are actually pretty good. I don't know, Adam, you have a thing with...
Shockingly, yeah.
I think they're amazing. Like, I think they're exceptionally good.
They're the only reason where I'm like, okay, the casting nom kind of makes sense. They found child actors that don't suck. Like, that's pretty awesome. So,
I thought that it was super effective. Just, I wish that the movie were a little more restrained with, like, some of its poetic choices there, especially, like, during all the grief stuff. You know, I think it just kind of verges into schmaltz and...
yeah.
Sentimentality way too much. And then when it becomes a message about like art and grief and like the healing power of art and how Hamlet basically is about his son, and it's like yeah, I'm sure there is the thing is, we don't know. The facts are that we know that Shakespeare had a son named Hamnet, and then he wrote a play called Hamlet after he died,
because he's unoriginal. He's a hack is what we're finding out. Even Shakespeare was derivative.
I think it helps to watch this movie knowing little to nothing about the actual play Hamlet, because when you actually watch the movie and then you watch Jessie Buckley in the cathartic experience of watching the play Hamlet, you're just like, I wonder how she feels about him, like mad that his uncle's fucking his mom and like just wanting to kill his uncle, and like the whole play is just about him like going insane and just like on a murderous rage and torturing his girlfriend and all this. And it's like
there is a bit more to it.
Like, sure, in certain moments, if you extract dialogue and scenes, it's just like, yeah, this is kind of like, I could see him making this about like fatherhood and stuff like that, but it just kind of simplifies it and flattens it, where and just kind of in a very sentimental, glowing way, it's just like Shakespeare's literally standing off to the side looking at his wife's reaction like, I made this play about our kid, you know. And I don't know, it was a little too much for me. Although there were scenes that worked for sure.
It is like absolutely sappy, melodramatic, and manipulative. Like, it's just, it goes so fucking hard in terms of what it's doing with the soundtrack during scenes where it would honestly just be great without the soundtrack.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, what you're showing is not that bad. You know, like, you don't need this cheat code crutch band-aid that you would use in other films that, you know, you might need that. This is instead taking away from that. A score should ideally be complementary to the film. This was a situation where it was insisting a very, not only specific, but very familiar sound and tone that are in scenes that would otherwise be a bit more kind of interpretable emotionally. Not to extremes, not being like, oh yeah, this is a very good funny scene, but like there were elements of it being a bit more disturbing than sappy sad, right? That I would have loved to feel, and I feel I could have felt based on the visuals and the performances, but was unable to because of the insistence of the tone through the soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. The soundtrack was pretty overbearing in certain moments, and not only that, just like the dialogue, especially in the cathartic moments where it's like, if it was just a bit more restrained, and I don't know, like, of course, this is Chloe Zhao doing a movie off the heels of the Eternals, and I don't know how much was like her total control of the production here. I know Steven Spielberg was a producer on this film, and I don't know, you can kind of feel that influence a little bit. But, I mean, I love Spielberg, but it just felt like it tonally inappropriate, especially in the final production of Hamlet. And it's not like, look, this movie does not try to be faithful to the time period whatsoever. And like the production of the actual play is kind of like very anachronistic to how it would have been done.
Sure.
But like there are moments when she walks in and she's watching the play and she's like acting like, just, I'm sorry, like an idiot. She's just like, why would you say my kid's name? Like she's screaming during the production. I don't know. I just felt it was kind of over the top. And
yeah, the execution of that is strange.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Jake, where you said you liked that first half, but I kind of loved that first hour. Like I was really into it. I felt like a sense of dread and this like palpable foreshadowing in ways that I really liked. The recurring use of like the wilderness, and she's like known as as like a witch type figure and doing this kind of stuff in the woods that I thought was cool. And yeah, it does feel like after that hour point, building to this like intense emotional climax, it doesn't really know how to follow it up. And I know this is based on a book of the same name. I don't know if it's the same structure in the same way or how much of it is similar to that. But to me, that kind of intimacy of that first half and that focus on Buckley in particular was kind of what I was really into. And it almost like fell apart to me the second it got to that to be or not to be seen. To be or not to be seen.
Oh my God.
On the pier, where I was like,
horrible.
Oh no.
Dude, Pride Rock.
Yeah, it was a Dude Pride Rock like
for Shakespeare.
There are so many Pride Rock moments in this movie.
It felt like we're doing the Shakespeare biopic now. And it's like,
yes,
man, it would have been, because I just have such a pet peeve with movies about figures like as big and important as this, and if you're going for this I don't know, looser kind of thing of trying to capture this eureka moment. How did he come up with the story? How do we get there? Juxtaposed against this first hour, which is about like this mother, basically. I would have much preferred if the Paul Mescal character was just more disparate throughout the movie and it just stayed more on her.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that second half, like, I totally agree. Once you get to the Globe Theatre, I understand exactly what it was going for, but it wasn't emotionally connecting with me like that scene at the halfway point did. It just feels like it loses all of its steam after that point and just kind of goes in a different direction that I wasn't interested in, from like a character level, from a story level. Yeah, which is a shame, because I thought that, the set design and the way it was framed inside these old houses and the costumes and everything, I was really into. And I did actually like the ethereal music use in that first half, but it just couldn't maintain it for me, and did just become kind of corny and so broad that it just ended at a really, like, that's just didn't hit for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, at a certain point, like, I love when it is the focus on Agnes and her life, and like there's that scene where she gives birth and to the twins, and then you think the baby is dead, and then is revived, and it's very moving. Like, I was, that's very touching to me. And then but during the actual cathartic moment, I just kept feeling the filmmakers with the music, with the performances, with the dialogue in that final moment where it's just like, we're pulling out all the stops, cry, 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 do it, and it's just like, this is too much. And also, like you were saying, Alex, when it is focused on Agnes, it's way more interesting because that's a new perspective. And then the second half, anytime we go to London, without Agnes, when we're just with Will in London, it's so incredibly cheesy. You know, he stands on the water and is doing to be or not to be, thinking about death. And it's like, like if we're making a movie about this other perspective, about this life, you know, in this world that was like separate, like they should have just stayed with Agnes's POV until she gets to London. That would have been so much more powerful. And I think it's so much more cheesy to have all those scenes of Will having his catharsis and crying, and oh, it's so important, he's communicating. And it's like, this is what we know, what he was trying to communicate with his play now, you know, and this is the key is unlocked. And it's like, it would have been so much better if it was just a little more stripped back and her trying to contend with like, what is he saying with this play and how do I feel about it? And there is ultimately, I think there should be some catharsis for her as a character, but this whole weepy Hamlet is, you know, we're preserving our son in the play and it's like this beautiful thing about art, and it feels inauthentic to me.
Yeah, it's too like meta in a weird way. And what especially bugged me is that in that first half you have like Emily Watson is like a pretty significant character who's like echoing Jessie Buckley's character in a cool way. That's like, oh, there's so much more to explore there between these two, but it's kind of pushed aside for this whole play element, which it just goes in a direction that just doesn't speak to me.
It's a problem that exists throughout genres, unfortunately, where there's an implied sense of significance just from the familiarity, the recognizing of something that we see as culturally significant before the film, right? So if we're doing the fucking, oh, it's about Shakespeare, it's about Hamlet, that alone is a big reason why people are seeing the movie. But unfortunately, you know, I agree that it would be way more interesting if they didn't feel the need to leave these dumb little fucking treats and have the focus.
The member berries.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like it feels so cynical. It feels so stupid that it's impossible to take it seriously. Yeah, it reminds me of like the success of like Bohemian Rhapsody, or like so many biopics, or especially musician biopics, where like most of the enjoyment of those films, like the particularly bad ones that are still moderately well received, are just, hey, they're playing the song that I recognize. Oh, we're getting to see the origin of this song. Oh, we're seeing the recording of this song. And because we already associate like, oh, this is a hit, or I like this song, and it's a cultural institution, when you see this is how it started, it's, I guess, in enough people, it activates some part of their BBS brain where it's they just think like, oh yeah, this is an important thing that I'm witnessing, and the positive emotions associated with the thing that I already love are ones that I'm now experiencing watching this film in a way that it did not earn.
Yeah, it feels like a trick, and
it is.
I'm glad you mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody, because it's like, of course you love that Live Aid performance, like everyone does. It's like legendary, but it exists already. You can already like watch that and see that, and that's what bugs me about it. It's like, yeah, I could go see Hamlet and come to this conclusion on my own. Like, of course you love Shakespeare, you know the osmosis kind of stories, you know, so like you're gonna have some attachment, some familiarity. So yeah, that's why I just wish that focus was in a more interesting place where the original character-led stuff can have more space to do what it needs to, especially with how excellent I think Jessie Buckley is in there. I think it's more the execution of that last hour that is like a script level, or whatever this book is like, that is to blame more so than performances or anything like this. Like I personally think she probably deserves the Oscar, like, for that performance, and she's probably going to win too. Like I can't get mad about that. And I think Paul Mescal actually is good as well. You know, like I think all the performances.
I don't know, guys. I saw The Bride. Nice. She's in The Bride. That really changed my perspective, because I saw The Bride before I watched Hamnet, and it did change my perspective a little bit. Unfortunately,
well, here's the thing. So I also generally love Jessie Buckley, but Louise Ward's criticisms that she mentioned, they do still resonate with me as well. it is more of like a subtlety sort of thing where you can tell that Jessie is giving it her all in the performance. Like she's doing it in a way that has no ego or like fear, right? But you can definitely tell the difference between this performance directed by Chloe Zhao versus other performances directed by other people. And so if you're saying, which I haven't seen The Bride yet, if you're saying that Maggie Gyllenhaal brings a little something else out of her in a worse way, then that kind of fits.
I think with The Bride, it's just a matter of range. Like I could see Jessie Buckley doing. She was so incredible in Hamnet, and definitely awards worthy for that performance. But like the range of being able to do something like she's basically playing like Harley Quinn as the bride,
Ew.
And it just and she's possessed by the ghost of Mary Shelley. I'm not even kidding. And the ghost of Mary Shelley just acts like Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh,
guys,
ew.
This movie's insane. Anyways,
sounds kind of funny. Yeah.
Well, yeah, on digital. We'll talk about it when it's on digital, guys.
Yeah. So it changes how you see a work of art when you see another performance that doesn't work, and it's not necessarily Jessie Buckley's fault that performance doesn't work.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
that's what I'm saying.
two registers that are completely different, and she's incredible in this. How did you guys feel about Paul Mescal? Because I feel like people are criticizing him, but I feel like he was good. He was given some of the worst parts of the movie.
Given how bad like some of his lines are, I think he does a good job. Like especially during like that first hour where you've got to buy into their relationship, like see it blossom, see the loss there. I bought all of that.
Yeah.
Especially with how they handle that scene of him coming in and the contrast of him against Jessie Buckley's character. Yeah. And how kind of like unexpected that was. So I thought they were gonna like wring that out and be like, yeah, it's just a cry fest. We're really gonna like get into this, but they kind of don't go that way. And I thought that was a cool, clever subversion. But as far as the Jessie Buckley overacting thing, for that first hour, I disagree with that in any way. Like up to that scene, I think it's more just how that last section is written. I also found it quite strange and like. It needed a more dreamy or surrealist tone, I feel like, to pull off something like that.
Sure.
With how, like,
like
literal it seemed like it was coming across. And it's like, why is no one, like, it just didn't feel right, that whole execution. Because, like, I don't know, she's awesome. And I'm thinking of ending things and men as well. She's great as well. So I don't think it's a her problem.
Exactly.
Really, at all. So.
And it's funny that you kind of mention like the idea of making like a dreamier tone with that, because the color grading would almost imply that would be the case, right? Like there's some really kind of poppy colors, like her dress just sticking out from the rest of the environment in terms of how like the saturation is handled. You'd almost think that it would be more along those lines in terms of overall presentation or editing or structure, but they didn't really go that way. So, the color grading is something that near the beginning of the film I was like, oh, interesting. I kind of like these choices. But as the film went on and the choices wound up feeling not really that meaningful, I was kind of like, I don't really like the look of this. Like as it goes on, it just kind of felt like wasted.
That's what's kind of frustrating because all the pieces are there. You know? Like with her being kind of like a witchy kind of character, like. They just leaned into that in a way.
Yeah.
It could have been really cool and been more for me instead of the broadness.
You could almost just re-edit the movie.
Yeah. Take half an hour out, find a different place to end it. Because, it just really loses steam after that that whole build-up. Because I thought that was kind of like, man, I know that this is coming at a certain point. The whole film is about like this premise of losing a child, right? Like, so that palpable dread is like, that was just stringing it along for me.
Right.
And there's just nothing after that point. Like I just switches gears in a way.
Well, also like it's set up so much with all this dread that when the kid actually dies, you honestly don't need to do that much. Like it's a kid dying. Like it's a heavy topic, and just watching the performances would have been enough. But then it does this kind of thing where he's wandering on stage, and this, it pulled me out of it a little bit. Where I'm just like, yeah, you're kind of pushing me to these feelings when I don't want to be pushed. I want to be. Lead myself to those feelings.
Yeah, it strips away the sincerity and makes it too sensationalized. It's just it's just a weird approach. And I think we should definitely mention here. I don't know if you guys how familiar you are with this or how much you picked up on it. But something else that Louise mentioned that I understood after watching the film is Max Richter's score for this. One of the tracks that plays at the end during like the climax and then goes into the credit is an existing track that was created like in the 2000s or something. I don't remember, but a while ago. It eventually became popularized and used in various films and television shows. The biggest example of this being Arrival 2016, Denis Villeneuve. This score nomination is particularly infuriating because the Arrival original score was disqualified. Johan Johansson's score was disqualified because of the use of this exact same song, citing that because it was previously written not for the film and because it was used during pivotal moments at the beginning and end, that there would be no way for audience members to distinguish between the existing track and the original score. Now, I want to be clear. I looked up all of the different changes to the rules for original score. There were points where they specified like a percentage of how much of the film's music had to be original material, and that changed a couple times. That doesn't apply here because 86% of Arrival's soundtrack was the original score by Johan Johansson. Not only was it 86%, but it is radically different in tone, in like sonic space, all the different sounds. It does not seem reasonable that you would not be able to distinguish between those compositions. In this film, not only is that song used, and not only is it used at a pivotal moment, literally the entire fucking climax and end of the film, but with the same composer composing the rest of the soundtrack, not only would it be impossible not to argue that this is a much more clear example where people would not be able to properly differentiate between the two compositions, the existing and the new ones, but I don't know if you guys noticed this, but throughout the fucking film, he was essentially just doing renditions of that existing track. He was working within the exact same chord progression. He was doing it in the exact same key. He was intentionally, probably through the direction of Chloe Zhao or somebody telling him what to do, he was intentionally evoking the exact same emotional feel of that original pre-existing track throughout the fucking score. So, excuse me, what the fuck, Academy? This should also be ineligible. Because even if we're gonna say like, oh yeah, well, you know, most of the composition's technically original, they made Hans Zimmer ineligible just recently. Was it like last year or the year before for Dune Part 2 score? Because so much of it was doing renditions of existing themes from Dune Part 1. So, excuse me, what the fuck? Like this is like, to me, this feels like it should be a scandal because there are clear rules and precedents that you've set that you are ignoring, either because of favoritism or because the Academy is so fucking incompetent that they don't recognize when an existing track is being manipulated and repurposed and essentially just remixed throughout the fucking score, pretending to be the original parts. I'm sorry, this is fucking bullshit. This is bullshit. And if this wins score, I can guarantee you that the people that voted for it were thinking of the existing track at the end when they submitted their rating. Fuck you, Academy. Go eat a bag of dicks. Hi, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's bullshit. No, I think that's fair enough, because I agree. I was kind of checked out from the story on an emotional level by that point where I did recognize that piece of music, and it didn't really bring out the emotions it was going for. But I enjoyed the score in the build-up section of the movie, the first hour. It was kind of subtle enough, it was atmospheric enough. but I completely agree with everything you're saying about that final piece. But funnily enough, like the people I've spoken to outside of like online circles about this movie, like that's what comes up is like, oh my god, that song at the end. Like,
yeah, I was just reading a Reddit thread. Every fucking comment, the top comments.
Yeah.
Oh, the ending.
So I think, it's just how much of that is like a calculated. We want this to be a broad like success because it's doing extremely well. Been in cinemas for like 9 weeks or something. Like people are going to see it nonstop. So.
Oh wow! Really? Still? Like right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's nearly grossed to $100 million. So
what?
It's pretty wild.
Huh.
I don't understand what is wrong with the Academy in terms of their nomination process for best score. It does seem like they just hate like electronic sounding music.
Yeah.
Like they just like traditional. I mean, you have Johnny Greenwood nominated for One Battle After Another, and that's like, to me, and Ludwig Göransson for Sinners, but those are the most interesting ones, at least to me personally this year. But it's like to exclude Marty Supreme's score, and even worse than that, last year excluding Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross was for Challengers, just totally insane. So like it might be one of the worst bodies of the Academy Awards for nominations.
There's quite a few categories where it's clear they do not have the right people like responsible for nominations, right?
Feels very old school.
Like international feature, documentary.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Sound, that's a huge one. Score, that's a huge one. Animation, that's a huge one. Like those are all categories that are like consistently ignoring the best of each year, right? Like to the point where it's you expect it and it's frustrating somehow. Like it genuinely like insane.
I mean, obviously we'll talk about this more at the Oscars.
There's no universe where like the best and most talented people that you could have nominating for the sound category wouldn't include Alex Garland's Warfare, right?
Yeah.
The score for Sarat is not nominated. It's nominated for sound, which is weird. Jake, have you seen Sarat
the Young
yet?
Father score?
I have not watched it yet.
You should. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
No, I want to see it. It sounds interesting. Yeah.
Good.
There are quite a few I still want to see. I'm trying to catch up on just the Best Picture nominees. I still need to see The Secret Agent, but
yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts about Hamnet, guys?
It's pretty in depth.
It's fine. That's my opinion. It is fine.
Yeah, it's a bummer when it's like weighted this way round. I feel like it hits harder in the wrong way when the second half is so much weaker than the first half, because you're just left like kind of unsatisfied in a way. But I just feel like if I could watch that first hour and it just kind of ends after that emotional climax, then this would be like a pretty high rating for me. But it just kind of levels out as like a middling 3-star on Letterboxd, like a 6 out of 10. I just wish it could have gone some different directions for what I'm looking for from these kind of movies, but I guess general audiences don't agree.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I what you're describing is basically how I expected to feel like from the first like half or whatever, but then I just wound up getting so like annoyed and frustrated that it just I don't like that it became like a frustrating experience. You know, I'm kind of mad about that.
Yeah, fair.
4 out of 10.
All right, I'm a little kinder. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, very flawed.
8 Oscar nominations.
There's a lot. It's probably going to win.
You know, they gave it adapted screenplay because it's about Shakespeare, and that's writing.
Well, it's based on a bestseller.
Have you heard about the book? Yeah, have you read the book or heard of the book, Jake? Any detail?
I've heard about it. I never read it because it's just the subject. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, totally get it.
I can't read a book about the dead kid like that. And that was my whole thing about watching the movie itself. Was it was just like, I really don't want to have to watch this.
And yet you did.
Well, I was forced by this podcast.
No.
No, you guys forced me.
I wouldn't have made you watch Hamnet.
I have no free will here. I am forced to do everything. This is a cry for help. Speaking of which, Pillion.
Yeah, actually,
Nice.
kind of.
That's a segue.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even watch it, Jake, did you?
I did.
Oh, you did. Wait, Alex, did you watch it?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I watched it.
I thought you said you couldn't see it. Oh, yeah. Never mind. I forgot.
Alex sent me. He helped me out. He helped me out to
He sent you the map to find a theater.
the map to the theater so I could watch it.
Because you don't like using digital maps.
I watched it at midnight last night after finishing The Night of the Hunter. Yeah, so I'm. Can I just say, like, I'm so happy that I watched it. It was
Great.
fantastic.
Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
It's incredible.
No, I'm really glad I didn't skip it.
Oh, you both liked
yeah,
it.
it was so great. Yeah,
A queer ass kink movie for the Sards.
it was so funny.
And it had a closeness to me too, because it was funny. It was extremely British, obviously.
Yeah.
I was, not to spoil anything, but where one of the more intimate scenes takes place in the first act of the movie. It's Bromley Market Square, where I was on that street, like in December, like a few months ago.
Nice.
So that was cool to see those locations that I'm familiar with, and even when they go off into the like fields and stuff, like I've been.
Oh hell yeah!
In these areas, so it was like really cool to see that in a movie.
So you can like take a photo of you can take a selfie like in the dick sucking
The famous Pillion locations.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Alex? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I just I don't know, a nice British movie I liked. Really thought Harry Melling carried this on his back and did an excellent performance.
That's
and
great. Yeah.
Kind of like a sidebar thing that was really in my head while watching him was like, this is just what I want my actors in film and television to be, where they kind of look like real people. They have like interesting faces that like emote, you know, like as like a contrast to, you know, like Brad Pitt in F1 or whatever, and they're so like Ozempic / have no buccal fat, and it's like, oh my god, like that's just like not what I'm here for. But this just felt kind of real and sincere and challenging, like the stuff they're doing in the film, and exploring these relationship dynamics and reaching a conclusion that just felt very unique and something like I haven't seen in a film like this, and just beautifully put together, especially for a first feature from Harry Leighton, which I thought was very clever, especially with a lot of these like visual metaphors and the whole idea of what a pillion is and how it represents the relationship, and down to their pets and everything, just enforcing this idea and exploring it, and these characters, well, at least the main character, having this huge change to him. He changes so much as a character and goes through so much, and it just avoids being like a parody of itself or silly in a way that's unintentional.
Yeah,
I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah, I love seeing a film tackle a type of character and relationship dynamic that is so niche, but obviously still real and like obviously still something that a lot of people do, but just isn't really showcased in society. And for a film to be able to tackle that in a way that doesn't feel like it's just taking the easy route and just making like a parody, or just, you know, not doing it in any kind of authentic way. No, it has a very real sense of sincerity, while still maintaining the self-awareness and understanding that, yeah, there's an inherent silliness to this. This can be funny. You can acknowledge the humor while still not dehumanizing the characters and dehumanizing their relationship. You can still explore that in an emotional way without hiding the fact that, you know, there's humor. There's humor. It's a funny movie. It knows what it is, and it's very, very intelligent in how it's presented.
Yeah, and also like it has a lot of sex in it, and it's not like cringy or awkward. Like it is awkward in some instances, but it's like that's the point. You know, it's the definition of necessary sex scenes. Like they communicate much about the power dynamics and what's happening, you know, to the relationship. And I don't know why I got this feeling watching it, but it felt like, well, because it's like this is an extreme version of like many relationships. You know,
every relationship I've ever been in. it's an exaggerated version of that. Guess which one I am.
Well, there you go. It's like there's a lot to be seen and explored just in this kind of extreme version. It almost reminded me weirdly of like a Jane Austen
Nice.
novel or adaptation, in that like there's these formal rules and like just like because it's put in this like BDSM world, all these rules that I'm learning about as I'm watching and going like, that's interesting. They can't, of how they're like exploring the world and all the friends and all these things. And it felt like this highly rule-based structured society, and seeing that clash with like his parents, and how they are like seeing his son is so unique. And I just what I love especially is that it's not just like this mopey story, like it's very sincere with its feelings, but it is not afraid, again, to just be really goofy and funny. And that's what makes it even more like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And also like complex too. Because like for the first half of the movie, I was like, oh, I felt kind of like a tension or a sense of dread. I was like, where's this going to go with this Skarsgård character? Because he's so mysterious, and they never actually indulge into his backstory at all or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the point of that character. But the ways it will go, like how dynamic it is, will reveal sides of a character or like a tenderness, and just delve into that complexity that does, make it really satisfying and unpredictable and kind of tragic too, towards the end, especially with like the point it kind of wraps up on. I thought was like beautifully executed.
Yeah, I mean, Skarsgård is like this black hole. He's so charismatic and interesting and fascinating to watch on screen. The fact that you don't know about him tells so much more, about him. And especially in the end, you're just like, wow, there's so much like complexity here under the surface that I feel like it rewards some rewatching.
Yeah. No, that's and I love how it's something that can be easily interpreted and inferred with people kind of familiar with that type of character or less exaggerated versions of that character, without over explaining it, but still presenting things in a very genuine and authentic way. In order to kind of talk about that, I kind of need to go to spoiler territory. So why don't we just say, hey, we all love this movie. Check it out.
Watch it.
It's in theaters right now. Spoiler time for Pillion. Yeah, so his Alexander Skarsgård's character, it's Alexander, right? Is that the Skarsgård?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. There's so many of them.
There's 50 of them.
Yeah, I think his performance was particularly fantastic because even though it's like a very reserved and held back performance, there is not only like a very consistent way that it's presented throughout and a very commanding screen presence at the same time without saying much. He offers a nice level of detail and subtlety that adds to the complexity of his character. Because at that moment at the end where the two are having their day off and things seem to be going fine, and then it ends in a kiss, and not only did the kiss happen, but he was also laying on his back with the main character on top. He was put in a situation, and you can read so much into this just through his look in his eyes
the face
at
acting,
that moment. Yeah. And you can tell that like his entire identity and all of these structures and rules that he set up for his own life have all just been like a gigantic instinctual self-defense mechanism to avoid the weakness of vulnerability and exposing yourself
and intimacy
to others. To let someone into your life and be intimate causes like a gigantic fight or flight response in this character, revealing, very likely a history of trauma associated with that. I've had many conversations with, queer people in my own circles about relationship dynamics and kink dynamics and the sexual roles and how they relate to your own upbringing or your own fears and insecurities and stresses. And this isn't true across the board, but to many people, the idea of like being a dom is often brought out by, like having an insecurity about control and wanting to bring that back in this other way, in this way that in a sexual context you're free to, because in many points in your life you feel as though your agency has been stripped away from you. And again, this doesn't apply to everybody, but people that I've talked to have made this comparison. Like in my own life, like I feel oftentimes that I have to be the one to take charge and take initiative and lead and be responsible and get things done. And that's brought out of a history of different traumas and my upbringing, etc., and needing to be independent. And so that, in my, I don't know if this is TMI, I'm an open book, obviously, but like in my own experiences, like me being able to be a sub and kind of just like let go of control and have trust in another person and feel like comfort and safety while not needing to be in control. Like that's a very important thing. And suddenly in a sexual context, you're kind of given this permission that you wouldn't normally have outside of a sexual context. Kind of like, in the Rehearsal season 2, where he's talking about the concept of role play and how every person is just waiting for permission to do the things that they would want to, but aren't able to because of societal expectations or structures or patterns of your own behavior. It's really interesting psychologically, and his performance captures that essence to a T and is really well done.
Yeah, I really like Alexander Skarsgård. I think he picks weird movies and weird roles. Like there's this movie, he was in Succession somewhere recently, or like Infinity Pool, and he'll be in something like The Northman.
More like Infinity Poo.
You didn't like it?
No. Sorry.
But I guess more the fact that like he'll do these weird challenging roles and play a range of different characters. And the lead 2 roles here are it's like a challenging thing to pull off, as we've been saying. But as a way, he stands out in the cast. Everyone else kind of feels like quite naturalistic and like they fit in the environment. And he's like so tall and like he doesn't have the British accent. There's a funny joke with him saying he's from Chislehurst when they ask, when Colin's parents ask where he's from. He just kind of dodges it and is elusive. There's a lot of good scenes that like come from that and exploring, especially how like outside sources interpret it too. Like Colin's parents have a great dinner scene where his mum, who was ill at the time, is trying to, I guess she has nothing to lose and is like kind of concerned for her son's well-being.
Yeah.
Where he has this like padlock on his neck and it's like,
shaved
you can really kind of see everybody's perspective and it just makes for great character drama.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, honestly exploring something complicated.
And they didn't even need to like ever literally flat out say that she's sick. Like I love that the way it's introduced.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They didn't start with the exposition, but you could tell just, through the communication of like her makeup and costume and performance disposition and the implied passage of time and the questions she's asking, and like it's all really, really well done in terms of how that information is communicated. Like I love that it's just so easy to interpret and infer without ever feeling like it's dumb or explained for the lowest common denominator.
And not like played for melodrama. Like the whole kind of reason that happens on a story level is like what it does to the Colin character and how that, tweaks their relationship in that moment because he's so vulnerable and he's so like devastated by the loss of his mum.
Yeah.
And kind of what that brings out of the Skarsgård character is so interesting. As I say, peels back a layer of him to see like, oh, he like can be something else, and what that does to the Colin character, because he kind of opens up in a way where he's like, oh, maybe this isn't what I want. Maybe I want like a slightly different dynamic here. I want a little bit of love.
Yeah. And in the same way that like an absurdist satire film that has no basis in reality can present ideas and stories and characters that give us windows into our own lives and the ability to reflect on, not just ourselves on a personal level, but societally. In that exact same way, this film is able to present an exaggerated relationship dynamic, but still be in reality, right? So doing the same sort of things that an absurdist satire would do in terms of relatability, showing you something that's not you, but you if it went in the most extreme direction, right? I love that, and that's why that relationship with his mother in that situation that it presents is so devastating to me, because like there is a very intense relatability to just wanting to be loved and wanting to be useful and like please a partner and like that sense of romantic attachment, but fulfilling it in ways that aren't even necessarily inherently romantic. And when that comes at odds with your family or like other parts of your life that you care about that aren't a part of this universe where it's essentially just role play, like it's kind of, it's sad for there to even be a conflict to begin with, that there should have to be a conflict. Because his mom's not going to understand, no matter how you explain it. She's not going to understand. She doesn't know that he actually gets like a legitimate joy out of this. That's something that I'm glad that they communicated as well. Because as much as me being like a depressing movie lover, as much as I would have loved for them to just start the credits as soon as it cut to black after he, unsuccessfully searched for his partner that disappeared off the face of the planet without saying goodbye. As much as I would have loved that, I do see the purpose and do kind of enjoy that they continued after that to show that A, he was still pursuing the same relationship dynamic, but more importantly, B, that he's now setting rules and restrictions boundaries, for himself.
Right. And boundaries.
He's learned how to set boundaries. That's the right word. Thank you. And that's a necessary showcase of his character's development for the story. Like that's his arc, is recognizing, yes, I love this thing. I'm into this kink. I want to be this for someone, but I have my limits and I do need some things. Otherwise, I'm going to fucking go insane and steal a motorcycle.
Well, that's what's so compelling, I think, about like the story and the tension and the kind of like suspense is like, we don't know much about this guy. And there's part of us that is sympathizing with the parents and being like, hey, are you safe? Like, are you happy? Like, is this going too far? And at certain points it is. And we never see like a conversation between the two of them being like, hey, these are the rules, these are the boundaries, this is what we do or don't do, which my understanding, that's normal, right? And so you're kind of like a little worried about him. Like, what is this guy going to do to him? How far is he going to be pushed? And that's why it's so exciting and funny and weird when he does break and snap and he's like putting on the guy's shirt and he's, stealing the motorcycle. And you're like, what is he? How is Skarsgård going to react to this? What's going to happen? And the fact that he gives him a day off, you do feel like, and this is why I'd be interested to watch it again, because while I was watching those scenes, it's so sweet, the way like just these tiny little moments of intimacy when Skarsgård is like, go sing, sing for me, teach me how to sing,
Great scene.
And these moments, when they finally kiss, it's so romantic and sweet, and then he vanishes. And then in that context, I'm thinking, I do think he felt something real, for that relationship. And he was scared by that vulnerability, like you were saying, Adam. But also part of me is like, was he just like giving his dog a great day before putting him down, like that's another side of it.
Maybe it had already ended when he asked, when he was insistent about what he needed. And if that's in conflict with the type of life that he needs to live for his own insecurities and maybe lack of therapy or something, if that's in conflict, maybe that is where it ended for him. You never know.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I wonder if it could have worked without the kiss, if that was the moment. Also, how many movies are there out there where like the kiss is satisfying, where when it happens, you're like, and there's like a catharsis for it? Because I've seen about 1 billion movies where that's clearly implied and that's the intent. Where it's like, oh, finally they kiss each other, but it's never fucking earned. Like this is, I don't know if I can think of another movie where like it's successful in that sense.
I mean, yeah, as well as being an awesome kind of twist on that romantic trope as well.
Well, in a movie with tons of graphic sex, it's like the kiss. That's the real moment.
But that's what it's communicating. Yeah.
But the true kiss being the undoing is like such a beautiful tragedy to that as well.
True.
Yeah. Because a lot of romance movies would be like they're together now like moment, but it's the complete inverse here.
Yeah. And you get turned into Shrek. But yeah, I mean that's what it's exploring is like the complexities and differences in a relationship between sex and kink and intimacy, and how they're not unrelated, but they're also separate things. And to many people, they are intertwined in ways that can't be separated, and to many people, they are completely separate things that have like nothing to do with each other even. And it's really interesting, incredible for a film to explore that. And, as a person that likes thinking about people and the human brain often, the types of characters that I've met and talked with in queer and kink circles is always fascinating to me. Like there's a huge spectrum of different things that people want in their lives, and I feel as though a society that doesn't discourage people from seeking those things out is a society that is healthier for people getting what they want. Otherwise, you have the not uncommon situation where 20 years into a marriage, someone is like, actually, I'm gay. I just admitted this to myself now because I couldn't admit this to myself earlier. Or actually, I'm going to cheat on you because maybe I'm actually poly and I just didn't think that I had permission to explore this in a real way. Or I wanted an open relationship and I had to do it in secret. Like so much of what human beings do to cause harm to each other in ways that are not even explicitly intentional are just the byproduct of an existing structure in society that causes people to lie to themselves every day, right? It's being dishonest with yourself that causes harm to yourself and other people, in my opinion.
Yeah. Everyone builds up walls around themselves, and it's just like, what are the bricks like made of? Yeah.
I want to comment briefly about how, like the visual style, other parts of this movie that I really liked. Like it is a pretty restrained style, but it like, it gets the job done. It's effective. And I thought the music used was really good and subtle, like the piano and then the brief like pop, music stuff. It worked very well. It wasn't like ostentatious or anything. It was just quietly effective and got you immersed in the story.
Yeah. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with this one. I missed it at VIFF. Could have saw it at VIFF, but I missed it. I was so busy around that time.
Yeah, busy period.
Glad I got to see it, and hope that it does well. And this is like the directorial debut for like a feature length film for this guy, which seems fucking insane, right? Not only in terms of how great it is, but in terms of like how such an ambitious project gets greenlit for like the type of story it wants to tell and the type of things that it wants to show. Like, it's a pretty explicit, unique, and bold film that's
challenging.
Very, very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for getting us to watch it. I'm happy.
You know, I didn't even know it was about kink before going into it. I was like, oh, this has good ratings. I knew it would be like gay or something. For some reason, I thought it would be about like soccer, like football.
I knew it was about kink because there was, I think, Bill or the Skarsgård father and son, Stellan and the guy in this movie, they were talking about it, and an interview asked Stellan Skarsgård, like, hey, do you feel weird watching your son like in a movie like this, like doing sexual things? And he's like, no, I'd feel bad if he wasn't, acting well, but
Yeah.
no, I have no
Fair
problem
enough.
if he's doing a good job.
He should have said, "You trying to call me gay?"
Yeah. Yeah, Adam, this movie's kind of gay. Just saying.
Oops,
Yeah, just a little
sorry.
Just noticed.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny bit.
It's based on a book too. And I think in the book it's set in the 70s or something like this.
Interesting.
You can check me on that. But
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of modernizing it because I thought the whole family dynamic angle of the parents don't really have any tension over the fact that he's gay.
gay.
They're-
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
love him. Like, that's not something I've seen that many times represented. Not that, like, we don't need stories about, like, the other side of that. For obvious
Exactly.
reasons, but it's nice to see that range from it.
Well, because unfortunately, when you have like gay romance movies, right, it often falls into just very familiar tropes of like, okay, how are we going to make this about how they have to hide it from the rest of society, and
Mhm.
like they might get beaten
Yeah.
up or go to jail or disowned from their family, and like all like, and sure, those are valid things to explore, but like we've seen so much of it.
Mm-hmm. And they have to be boring characters. They can't ever do anything bad.
Yeah, and so I do love that like this is able to capture something that is similar. It's kind of in the same vein. It's still it still evokes that same concept of not fitting in with society and having to hide things about yourself, sort of thing, but in a situation where like his parents are in all aspects just supportive people that are trying to be supportive and love their son and trying to understand, but there's still so much that is just inherently at odds between the life that he's living and the life that he wants versus the life that they want for their son, the life that they would understand and be familiar with, right? They don't know how one could be happy doing that.
But yeah, great. It just creates such a like relatable, understandable like character drama to it.
Yeah.
And it's so like honest and interesting. There's just so much to pick at with
Yeah.
that as like a framing.
Yeah, no, this movie was fantastic. I was debating between an 8 and a 9, and I think this conversation has bumped it up to a 9.
Yeah, I was in the exact same place. I think it would be a 4-star for me, with the possibility of it going up on a rewatch.
Yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
Great film.
yeah. This was a real treat. One of the better 2025 films that I've seen.
Awesome, yeah. Side note, the pup was a real pup. Not to be confused with furries, because they're different things, even though there's some overlap. Some furries are pups. But the pup community is a different kind of BDSM kink thing. Is it?
Okay.
Is it classified as BDSM? It's a different kink thing. Pup play is not the same as furry.
That's what I was wondering.
But yeah, there's an interview. There's an interview from the real pup that was in the film
That's all.
on i-d.co. If anybody wants to read that later, it was kind of interesting. He talks about his interactions with Skarsgård and stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to watch like interviews of the director talking about how he did manage to capture that sincerity, like of this community. And I know like some of the cast members, as you say, are from the community, and it just makes it feel kind of real.
Yeah. Where's the fucking best casting nom for this? No other movies at the Oscars have a pup.
Yeah. Level up, Hamnet.
Or just going back to Harry Melling. Like, I feel more passionate about Harry Melling's performance in this than a bunch of the like best performance noms. Like, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, no, both of these could have easily gotten noms.
Yeah.
But the Academy, they ignore like really good, heartfelt British movies, because they did this. They fucking snubbed All of Us Strangers, also a queer British movie, right?
Oh yeah, that was great too.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like Zero Noms,
Uh-huh.
like easily one of the best films of the year. Easily could have fit into many of the categories. Excuse me?
Yeah. I guess Brits aren't real.
Gay Brits.
We don't count.
Well, it just confuses people. They're like, why are all these cigarettes on my screen?
True. So true.
I'm glad we had that conversation, because I feel like I was able to provide some substantive and intelligent commentary to it to make up for the next film where I will not.
Oh no. Speaking of pup play though, I was in Berlin the last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's a pretty open place. I think you'd like it though.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. No, dude.
It's really fucking cool. I really liked it.
I've looked up, even though it's not really it's something I have kind of a bit of interest in, but not a lot. But I looked up just out of curiosity, pony play gear, there's
Mm-hmm.
leather stuff like that. Seems like all of it's made in Germany.
Yeah, no, I just they have signs for sex shops everywhere. I went into a couple of them. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
I got food poisoning there. I was planning to go to one of these clubs,
fun.
but it was really lame. I was in bed for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to properly experience it. But for me, it's only an hour and a half to fly there. So I'll be back to Berlin for sure. Really cool place.
Berlin's a very largely attended film festival too.
Yeah, she went my way over for that.
We could plan to do Berlin one year.
That would be sick. Yeah.
Jake, you got a baby though, so
I do have a baby. Yeah, I have.
Baby in Berlin.
He literally, Nadia's trying to put him down to sleep, and
put him down.
Me.
Gotta put him down. Sorry,
seriously, and he spotted me, and what he does now, or he'll climb off the bed and he'll just go lay in the middle of the room flat on his belly, and he's waiting for me to grab him by his ankles and swing him around. And he'll do that, he'll just go do it constantly. I'm like, River, I'm tired. He's like, and he lays down flat until I swing him around like a rag doll and slam him against the bed.
You're the one reinforcing that expectation. So.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. That's so true. I'll tell him that.
Yeah, reasonably.
Anyways, what are we talking about?
Night of the Hunter.
Yeah. So let's do my recommendation then for this app, which I picked the 1955 film directed by Charles Laughton, The Night of the Hunter. His only film. This is one of those. It's just been in my watch list forever films. I'd seen screenshots of it and thought, wow, that looks quite striking, and I love the setting of the bayou and the deep south and everything. So I thought it was about time to catch up on it. People didn't like this film when it came out. It's kind of gotten love over time and the appreciation I think it deserves anyway. Kind of brief little 90-minute exploration of a self-proclaimed preacher who's trying to find $10,000 hidden somewhere in this small little town, which he finds out because he's arrested for stealing a car and put in the same cell as a father who had robbed a bank. And that's where the $10,000 comes from. This is set during the Great Depression, so there are a lot of aimless kids about and a lot of poverty, obviously. So this money is accentuated its value and its need, and this Southern Gothic crime thriller that comes from it is pretty spectacular. I kind of adored this. I thought this was amazing stuff. Took a few minutes for me, once you get past the little floating kid heads and
but is that not so Lynchian? When it starts.
yeah, exactly. But I thought this was spectacular.
I'm so happy you liked it.
I guess I'm a new fan.
That was kind of like Lynch's Dune.
Yeah.
No.
The opening. No, she was talking in front of the stars. The opening, remember?
Oh, no, shit, you're right, yeah. No, yeah, you're exactly right.
And Eraserhead a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think we're going to have a range of opinions here. I'm a new fan. Jake, you were familiar with this film already.
Yeah.
Based on your reaction to this as a rec.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah, I've seen this probably like 7-8 times now. I don't know.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've watched it, I think, first in high school, and I've just seen it so many times since. It's one of those that has really stuck with me. Even though when I first watched it, I was kind of like, interesting. Like there were parts I liked about it, but I didn't really fully get it, because there's so much like weird. It's so much more like a fable-like than I expected. I thought it was just gonna be like a thriller, an intense thriller, but it's very like storybook. It's very much like a child's perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I picked up on the same kind of thing. Fairy tale-ish kind of. Yeah.
There's nothing like it. It's so weird. You can kind of understand why it was a failure, when it came out. But
but also the stuff it's inspired, the things I love, the echoes of it that have gone through history since it came out. The whole love and hate thing that you got at in the opening, the tattoos on each hand of this, the Robert Mitchum priest character, who I think is, I don't know, he's quickly gone up there to like one of those like great cinematic villains to me. Just like what a fantastic concept for a character. That exploitation using his like manipulative tactics to worm his way into these towns, using the power of like faith and like weakness of the time during the Great Depression to get his way, and kind of use people.
And he's so cartoonishly evil in a way that like it's kind of like a nightmare, a childhood nightmare, where it's like all the other adults, they can't see how phony he is. And,
he's like the devil. Like it's and going to the like inspiration stuff, like Do the Right Thing, obviously. There's a lot to it. A lot of Coen brothers, I feel like, even down to these like, well, the last line of the movie obviously being like a reference in The Big Lebowski, which I guess I never would have known up until this.
I didn't even think about that. That's true. Yeah.
But just the whole idea of like, I always on the podcast we've referenced the Coen brothers and that love of having like a single scene where you have a character that is so memorable and kind of fleshed out, and this film is similar for that, where it has this whole range of characters and they're all so different and memorable and explore different kind of ideas of people at the time. And you got the priest, obviously, Uncle Birdie, the little kid John Harper, the Spoon family, and just the whole idea of kind of exploring love and hate to these extremes in this brief little 90 minutes with that storybook kind of framing. I couldn't really ask for much more from a premise like this, maybe outside of a little bit of kid acting here and there. Because I actually kind of like the main little boy quite a lot. Don't know how much that is of I do kind of like that trope of the kid that is kind of smarter than the adults and is like, he's a little bit ingenious. He's trying to figure out his way out of the situation. He's kind of quick and quick on his feet, and it just makes it sympathetic as well. Like he's so powerless. So having these kids being like trapped in this situation is genuinely scary. It's almost like a slasher at a certain point, like a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Almost being like a thriller.
Intense scenes in this movie with like goofiness and silliness, where Robert Mitchum is going, ow, and howling when he gets his fingers slammed. And it's like, it is that weird mixture of like a childhood nightmare of like, this is goofy and bizarre. And I feel like this movie shares more with like silent film than with other movies that were coming out, in the 50s. It's this like expressionistic lighting and, these shifting tones, not to mention like Lillian Gish in this movie is like the icon of the silent era. So I think that was probably on their mind when they were making this movie. But gosh, I'm so happy that you like this movie. And I'm terrified of what Adam's going to say right now.
You've been real quiet over there, man.
Real quiet.
I didn't hate the movie, but there's a lot of aspects that prevented me from getting what I feel would have been like a more full experience for me.
Sure.
I agree that visually this film is like genuinely incredible. There's a lot of really, really fantastically conceptualized shots, the way that they're pulled off, that underwater sequence was really, really cool. Like the silhouette of like the guy on the horse in the background and
all the forced
the
perspective
kids
stuff.
in the barn, and like the almost like I don't know what the terminology for this is, but like there's a couple shots that almost feel like comic panels where like one of the staircase shots, most of the frame is like black. It's like a basically like zoomed out of a set, but you don't see what's on the other side of like the walls, basically. Lots of incredible visuals in this film, but like the child acting was a lot for me. Well,
I knew it.
And it's not just, I mean, that is one aspect, but it's not like, oh, a couple kids at a couple moments. No, they're the main characters, basically. And so I will say that like I was enjoying it comedically from that. I was laughing at them, getting more laughs than most comedies. But I don't know if it's just that. There's something about like there's kind of a weird stilted nature to the editing in some scenes as well, and it's not every scene. It feels like kind of inconsistent. Like a lot of the dialogue scenes, the shots are like really quick, and yes, I acknowledge and understand that the editing process was very different at this point in time, but that doesn't change the way that it made me feel from like a narrative experience. Because
what do you mean the editing process was very different? I don't understand.
As in from like the techniques, the technology from
the technology
today?
Or like the techniques? Because I feel like the editing there's nothing really that hugely different from modern editing stylistically.
Well, my understanding is that it, like it's a bit more difficult to get the timing and pacing down editing wise, in terms of like playback while you're editing. Like you're looking for visual references on the actual film frames, but like in order to have like a convenient play pause sort of thing as you're doing the process, like it's a lot more tedious and time consuming. It takes more effort and money, and so you might not have as much of an opportunity to really fine tune exactly where you want the cut to be in terms of how it plays out from like a pacing standpoint. So I don't know, because I wasn't alive then, and maybe I should look up more about it, but that's just my understanding. Trying to give it a bit of credibility there, but yeah, there's something about it where it's I found myself often wishing that I felt like I was watching a movie rather than feeling like I was watching people make a movie. Does that make sense to you?
Not for me, because I was into the narrative pretty deeply, and I just wasn't thrown off by anything like the pacing or the editing. That stuff was very effective for me.
It's an atypical movie, even for its time period.
Very,
I feel like there's not so much that the issue is like the time period. I do think like the things that you're hung up on, I totally understand, being hung up on some of the choices here, but I do think they aren't like mistakes. Yeah, I do feel like there's a lot of intentional, like especially the editing, the pace, this feeling of like comedy, drama, this mixture of tones that's what threw me off the first time I watched the movie, a long time ago. It's just like, why is there like so much goofiness when it's like also a thriller, and it is tonally bizarre. Like there's nothing else like it. So it is, I relate to where you're coming from here. That's what I'm saying.
I appreciate it.
I guess, yeah. I found it sort of meticulous, actually, like inversely. With you're complimenting the kind of composition, and I agree, and it was just so sort of creative and varied and unpredictable in the way it was going. By the time you get to, are we doing spoilers? Or do we want to
keep
it? How do we want to do this?
Spoilers everybody.
for a 70, 80-year-old film.
Yeah. But just like all these things I traditionally love in film, the visual metaphors, or using like animals to express ideas, like the spider web shot over them, the birds in the cage, the bunnies in the foreground.
Sure, yeah.
All of the nature.
All this kind of stuff. I really adored all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that whole
the owl
fairy tale-ish kind of feeling. Yeah, the owl. especially when they go on the run on the skiff, I thought was like so gorgeous to watch. It felt like, I could see echoes of this in films that I love, in like a Guillermo or something like that.
Yeah,
Guillermo loves this movie.
that was my favorite sequence. If the entire movie was like that, it would have been like a 10, honestly.
Yeah.
The music there was incredible. The music, honestly,
the use of the singing,
the choices for the soundtrack, the tones, and the overall sound, like, felt way ahead of its time at many different points in the film. And even though there are sequences where it's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of weird in terms of like tonal shifts, and maybe on a second watch I would be less, taken out of the experience from it. Overall, music, like, really, really well done. Love the music.
Yeah, it makes me kind of sad that like it kind of flopped and was was kind of hated at the time, because it put off the director from ever making another film. And then he had something on the books.
How familiar are you guys with Charles Laughton's work as an actor?
Not familiar.
Not.
Okay. He's at the time, when this movie was made, and also just now, he's like one of the greatest actors ever, like, period, in my opinion. Witness for the Prosecution, Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1939, he plays the Hunchback, he's Mutiny on the Bounty is a great film. He's incredible. Hobson's Choice, that's a David Lean movie that's really good. But he is an incredible range, incredible actor. Famously, he was a gay actor, and he was, I think, pretty open, or not open, but he was as open as he could be in those days. Mm-hmm. It was known, basically, in the industry, and he. I do think there's interesting, like, queer subtext in The Night of the Hunter as a result. I do think, like, that interpretation is really interesting, especially the relationship between sex and religion, and the themes on display here are so interesting. How the preacher is this guy who is kind of like this, I don't know, he feels very modern, like this modern incel, like, I hate sex and all this stuff. And like that scene with Shelley Winters, who is just so sad and pathetic in this film, when she wants to, like, hey, have some sex. They just got married. And he's like, do you want to have a child? What do you expect to get out of this? It's so fascinating and dark and weird. And I that seeing that on screen is so fascinating, and especially for this time period.
Yeah. The way it lambasts religion, like early on with that character when he's driving his car.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking to God, and he's like, not that you mind the killings, your book is full of killings. And it's like, such a cool, interesting character.
The hypocrisy is really on display. Not only, like, in the first half of the movie, we're seeing this small town fall in love with this con man. And then at the end of the film, though, when the kids have been hunted and attacked and their parents are dead and all this stuff, then the town turns into a mob, and they don't even care about the kids anymore. They just want to, they just want vengeance. It's just kind of like a really good dissection of the kind of mentality of I guess, religion. And that's why I thought you'd be interested. You might find these themes interesting, Adam, seeing, like, this movie really, on one side, it is very critical of like organized religion and Christianity being bent towards, bad ends. However, you also have this, like, Lillian Gish character representing, like, the idea of good and, like, the children. And it is again, I keep thinking about David Lynch, because it is so Lynchian in the way it has this dichotomy between good and evil, and you have this, like, supreme good represented in a character, which Lynch would often do.
I did want to ask about that, because the character, the older woman at the end, like, her performance was great, honestly, but she's also kind of, like, reinforcing some similar ideas. So I wasn't really sure exactly where the film was getting at politically, because, although yes, it's a criticism of how some people use religion, that's for sure. I did find there still to be, like, even at the end, like, who's the character? What's the character's name? Ruby. Like, this whole, I don't know what was going on with her being criticized so heavily for, like, having a sex drive at points where it was like it felt like she was being shamed for being a human.
I think that was more from like a Great Depression kind of perspective where she's
exactly
kind of,
right.
She's taking in all of these kids, and you get this detail that she lost a child of her own, and it's like her way of kind of capturing that energy or putting something positive out there.
I'm not sure.
Tap into that kind of thing again. But she seemed more of like she's like the first adult to truly listen to these kids and like treat them seriously, as like a contrast to the previous people. Who, the uncle's like quite a kind character, but he goes down his own path of like he's boozing and can't help him when he's needed. And I thought that was like a nice contrast, like narratively, once you got there, to have a character like that who's, she actually protects them. I thought it was like a funny, cool moment when she comes out with the shotgun.
No, she's a great character. I like her.
She's an awesome character. Yeah, and her like dialogue, it's a hard world for little things. Children are man at their strongest, they abide. All this kind of stuff felt like that's what it was going for. Like she has an empathy and a true kind of motherly care for these kids, of which there are many of that, because they get the dialogue right where that's what upset her about that. Was it the Judy character you were saying?
Yeah,
Ruby. No, I appreciate
Ruby. Sorry,
yeah.
Ruby. Just getting at the idea of like, getting into a kind of a frivolous romance, and then the result is there's a kid in this awful situation that's then like her problem type thing, like trying to instill that in her, that there's like a responsibility or consequence maybe to something like that. And obviously the attitudes of the time to some degree, and just when it was set.
I think, I really appreciate that criticism, and you guys bring up Ruby as a character, because I do think this movie is like quite sexist in a lot of ways, because it is kind of like the mother and the whore dynamic, where every female in this movie is either just like stupidly seduced by Robert Mitchum, or they're like Lillian Gish, and just like this wholesome mother type character. Also, there's really no females in this movie or women in this movie, except for the children, and Ruby is, and I think what they're trying to do is show it not so much as like women are these corruptible beings, but that adulthood is a corruptible force, and that the attraction and the allure of adulthood compared to the relative innocence of childhood, and Lillian Gish trying to protect children, which Ruby is a child, and is being preyed upon by these older men. So it's like trying to protect children in a world that does not care about children whatsoever.
Maybe. I do kind of feel weird at like the trope of, the mother just going crazy. Also, I feel like I've seen that quite a few times now in a very inherently older film female character context, where it's just like, women be doing that.
I get what you mean, but I felt like this was an interesting play on that, in that it wasn't just that she went crazy, it's that she went crazy because of the religion, and because she became trapped in this institution with the husband, and was like, you kind of see like she's in these like crazy religious meetings with these torches blaring, and she's just like hallucinating and going crazy with this kind of like religious indoctrination. So I thought that was at least an interesting take on it for me.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I will say that there are films, this being one of them, where I do find it difficult to absorb everything that's happening. Perhaps a combination of ADHD and also a lot of aspects that are commonplace to films from this time period that to me come off as like an inherent kind of phoniness that makes it difficult for me to absorb the narrative in a way where I would most other films that I could watch from different time periods. And that's not to say every film from the 50s is one of those things. I love Paths of Glory. That's a film where that is not an issue. I'm looking forward to many other films from this time period, but there are things that are definitely more commonplace the further back in time you get, in terms of what people were expecting out of performances, right? How dialogue and exposition is handled, like pretty immediately, like at the beginning when the father is setting up the plot to his child, and that quick conversation. You got to swear. Swear means promise. Here's all the information you need. Like sort of like, there's a lot of different expectations for what films are and how aspects of filmmaking are handled, that it seems like to most people, it's just a matter of understanding what you're getting out of it, and then you're able to get into it just as almost like it's a different language or a different translation. But to me, it's difficult. And I don't know if it's an ADHD autism thing. I'm likely autistic. But I have the exact same issue with like Shakespearean dialect. Even, and again, this isn't just like an old movie type of thing, because I have that issue with Shakespearean dialect in new films, right? There are newer films that do that exact same thing, and I can't absorb the information properly. I'm like, I'm trying, but eventually it gets to the point where I'm like, I'm looking at the screen, and how did my mind start wandering off to the responsibilities I have the next day?
Sure. I have a couple of thoughts I want to address. Like, obviously, you have every right to have your, opinion about this and what you.
Sure.
But I do think, like, when I hear people talk about this, about like older films and how it is just like a limit, I do think in so many ways, and I used to think about this about older films too, was that like there is a linear progression of quality and how movies just got better.
It's not linear.
We learned how to make better movies over time, and I think like, when you see older style of acting, it's just different. Like when I just changed my mindset to like, okay, this is just a different style. Like this is just what like watching a foreign film of it, in a different culture, and it's made differently, and you just kind of get into the mood. And you've seen so many, great films from all over the world, and you understand like when you're watching a Korean film, when you're watching an Italian film, like there's different modes and styles and tones. And I think like I feel that way watching. Some of these older films. I totally get where you're coming from, and it can be like a barrier and a challenge. But I do think like, just like watching more of them, is also just like a way to immerse yourself and like, you just get used to it. I don't know. I feel like when I watch older movies, I don't really see the creaks and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, like anything that's normalized is something you're normalized to. Sure. I don't know if like what you're saying is absolutely valid, but I don't think that is the explanation for everything that I had an issue with in this film. I think the child acting is a pretty apparent, pretty large example of something that, like, even to this modern day, people have different thresholds for what they'll accept, and typically the average person is willing to accept a worse performance if the actor is a child, right? But I'm not that person. I'm consistent throughout generations of films on that subject, and I don't treat this film any differently than a film I would see today in that sense, right? In terms of like effects work, like that's something where I completely agree with you, where I can see like, a lit projection instead of, what might be like a seamless green screen effect. And that doesn't bother me at all. And it's kind of interesting to think about from like a filmmaking standpoint. So I don't know, like as I'm articulating my reasons for not being able to be fully into this film, it's something that I'm figuring out as I'm saying it and trying to understand myself. So I have to assume that there is some sort of some sort of difference between things that are considered to be commonplace or standards or accepted at the time. I wouldn't say that film progression is linear, and that the survivorship bias of films from any decade, any generation, we only remember the good ones, and there's mostly shit every year. And you could make the argument that films are getting better or worse, and you'd be just as valid depending on which films you watch.
Well, I could be guilty of the opposite.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm guilty of just like, well, movies were better back then. They knew how to make movies, and it's just not true.
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends which movies you watch. One thing that prevents me from really spending a significant amount more of my time watching older films is that most of the ones that people consider to be the great ones that I'm supposed to see are ones that just don't connect with me. And in that sense, I'm also fucking consistent with older films and modern films, because a lot of my taste for films that people enjoy currently are not my taste, right?
Right.
So it's a difficult barrier for me to get into when I have to watch a lot of things that I am relentlessly bored by in order to find the few things that I enjoy. In a modern sense, I know very well how to watch newer films that I think I will expect based on audience reactions, ratings, director, people involved, still alive, still making movies, aspects of the marketing. Like, I've got that down, and I know how to find things that I will enjoy myself, and I'm very good at that. But there's no such standard that exists for me right now, other than some people from my audience who either think I'll enjoy or not enjoy a film. It seems like when this was posted on the subreddit, all the top comments were people saying that I'm not going to enjoy this one. So
Yeah.
it seems like, it's
Figured out your taste. Yeah.
it seems like there's something to this other than it just being a movie from the 50s, because there's other things that people said that I would enjoy from the 50s that, it seems that there are features and factors that are unique to this that are preventing me from getting the full experience that are consistent with things I've criticized before. So
yeah, no, I mean you're very consistent with your perspective on that. And look, there's kids in this movie, and you watch any movie from the 50s or 60s with kids in them, like that's going to be a hang up,
Yeah.
They just didn't act, they didn't have they didn't direct kids in a way like that. And for me, it works because I feel like I really love Pearl's performance. The little girl. I feel like she has such a unique face, and so I just love all her reactions and everything. How she's always trying to hold on to Harry Powell, even though he's like the brother's just
she
come
drops
on.
it immediately too.
Daddy. But there are moments that I think are really effective, and even though there are some more hammy moments from the boy, I think that he feels very much part of this world, which is kind of heightened and surreal and fairy tale like.
True.
The movie literally ends with Lillian Gish talking to the camera, with a moral about how children are the future,
That was confusing to me. The Christmas, it felt kind of rushed. I don't know.
That is such I get what you mean, but to me, that is such a moving, I don't know. It's like the kids, what they go through, the movie is putting it into this good and evil fairy tale, biblical almost story. But at the end of it, it's about these kids who are just they have nowhere to go. And, when he wraps up the apple, just that little moment is so touching to me. It always gets me, when the Christmas presents, it's just such a normal thing of a kid, I didn't get her anything. I feel guilty. I need to, get an apple and wrap it in this little doily and give it to her.
And her reaction to it is so nice and uplifting.
She's wonderful. In this. Yeah.
Little fucking cheapskate.
No, it's super interesting, for this conversation, I guess, from that historical perspective, because part of it for me is that love of the history and the fact that it's okay, what level of this am I grading on the cultural norms at the time, the technology of the time, these expectations of the time. I find a sense of wonder, I guess, just from seeing these time periods sort of immortalized and seeing a Ford Model T working and put underwater and all this kind of thing.
That was cool.
But there's all sorts of things going on, I guess, with that. And to me, it doesn't really matter when it comes out. I connect with stories that are thousands of years old, I love the Odyssey. I love it. It's just a matter of what speaks to me. And in this movie, the villain speaks to me. The setting speaks to me. The plot speaks to me.
You relate to the Robert Mitchum character?
Not like literally like, yeah, that's me right there.
Yeah, literally me.
It's just a great hook and a great story, you know? It just gets me into that environment, and then the presentation on top of it is so like expertly put together. And yeah, if you give me those story and characters, I will be there. Doesn't really matter when or where it was released. But you got to like wade through that.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, people think that I have like some sort of like a limit on like the types of films I'm willing to watch, when that is not the case, right? Like, again, there's movies from any decade that I love. There's just less of them from some decades than others, and less of me wanting to be dedicating my time in an already busy schedule where I'm putting way much more time than most YouTube film critics into pursuing contemporary foreign independent films, right? Like, you got to remember time exists, right? So when you spend time doing something, you're taking time away from other things.
Everything's
right?
an opportunity cost, yeah.
And so when there's something that I'm clearly interested and passionate in doing, providing like what I feel is like a legitimate service, and also enjoying it, and then every time I do check out an older film, people just get mad at me. So like I have like I'm not saying you guys, but like
no, but I know what you mean.
Like it is kind of like discouraging. Right. So
I think what's nice is, I mean, you're always honest about this too. And I think maybe that's the problem, is that you're so upfront, like, hey, this is what I prioritize in my film watching. This is what I like and what I gravitate towards. And that's normal. I think that's a good thing for critics to be honest about. Like, this is what I specialize in.
Yeah.
And you never feign like this grand knowledge of old films from, classic Hollywood, or anything like that. And I think like there are people you can seek out and get their opinions about older films and do that.
Yeah.
I mean, respectfully, I'm not going to go to you if I want an opinion about
Metropolis.
Citizen Kane or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But I love hearing your reaction to older movies too. I mean, because they're especially this movie, because it is so atypical of the time. Like, it's, if you wanted to see like a regular type of movie from the 50s, there's like plenty of options, but this is one that even of the era, it was like, the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like,
that was apparent to me, even.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who's like hasn't watched the full scope and scale of what the decade has to offer, like, that was still apparent, and that caught me off guard, and I did enjoy it for that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I love the moment when he calls Pearl, "You disgusting little wretch," and is like screaming at them over the dinner table, trying to get the money. Like, those are some of the most powerful sequences of the movie that are just like managing this tone of comedy and terror. That is, you just
his
don't
reaction when he finds out about the doll, like his chuckle. And
my God,
it's so good. It's just that whole performance every time Robert Mitchum is on screen.
And when he just barely misses them right when the boat leaves, and that scream that he does is just this primal. Like,
oh boy.
I love it.
Yeah, I loved it.
Sorry, you reminded me about like a fucking audio issue I had, sir. They used the same scream 3 times in a row. Did you guys catch that? When he was running away at the end?
When he was running away. Oh, you mean when he gets shot at the end of the film? Oh, yeah. He goes, oh,
it's literally copy and pasted 3 times.
It's like Looney Tunes. It literally is like a Looney Tunes moment. It's so bizarre. Yeah.
I don't know. I think even before we started this conversation, I acknowledged in my own head that, like, I have a surprisingly positive feeling about the film. Like, there's no sour taste left in my mouth from it, even if I don't, love it uncritically and think it's the best thing ever and not have any issues with it. It is still overall something that, like, I was impressed by a good amount of aspects, and it is unique, and I wouldn't not watch it again for sure. This isn't a movie that I have no interest in seeing again, but I do feel, decently confident that it is something that, especially knowing what it is, which you can only do by watching the film the first time, will help on my second experience for what to expect. And I felt that way about a lot of movies, regardless of decade, where sometimes something just being like so weird or different, and sometimes especially something like tonally jarring. If you know what you're expecting going into it on the second watch, it can grow on you over time.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess we can wrap this up with ratings, but yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, like this, it just speaks to universal truths about humanity for me, you know, using institutions of like authority or power to get wealth or something kind of selfish, the way it explores greed and faith. It's like, this is all the stuff I love from storytelling. Just one of the great villains, I feel. So many great moments that are now seared into my mind's eye. So many visuals and moments, and yeah, the little musical stuff towards the end. It was like so creative and cool. This would be like a high 4.5 star, like a 9 out of 10 for me. I thought this was fantastic.
Sorry, 6 out of 10 for now.
Okay.
I'll likely raise it over time if I see it again.
I would be so interested if you were to like see this again in a couple of years, you know, what you'd think. No, I understand. And I give it, I mean, to me, this is 10 out of 10. It's like a miracle movie in my mind. It's one of the greatest things ever made. You know, like I love this movie. I think it's a miracle that James Agee, you know, he wrote the screenplay. One of the greatest film critics and writers of his generation, wrote this like right before he died. Charles Laughton, his only, you know, one of the greatest actors of his or any generation, you know, his only directorial effort, and then Stanley Cortez, the cinematographer. I mean, one of the greatest cinematographers ever. So like it is kind of like this perfect thing, object of beauty that just happened to come out of a studio system that really wasn't prioritizing these types of things. So it's a miracle that it exists. I love this thing.
Yeah. I do have positive, fond memories of certain sequences in this film that I don't think I'll forget about. And I'll look back at positively.
You know, the boat sequence, that was all shot on a soundstage. It's all a huge set. Yeah,
I picked up on that, and it was incredible.
So dreamlike and cool. Yeah, so awesome.
Like not like it felt like it, but I inferred that it must be.
Yeah.
With the backgrounds especially, and
that moment when they're in the barn and they see, you know, Harry Powell walking along the horizon, and he's, you know, don't he never sleep? That's actually
that's like great.
It's like it's like Blood Meridian. It's like it's so like ominous, but that's actually forced perspective because it's actually a little person on a little horse.
Nice.
On the set, yeah.
Or the bedroom forced perspective stuff that looks like a chapel. Like
I know.
That was cool.
Incredible.
I like that one.
Like shot, yeah.
And that moment, one of the most striking moments in the whole movie is seeing Shelley Winters dead, strapped to the car under the water.
That was great.
So beautiful, but terrifying.
Yeah, it, like part of me wishes like the whole film was kind of like that, you know. But I get that it can't be.
Yeah, I appreciate the balance that it strikes. You know, there's the good and the evil. You know,
the love and hate.
The love and hate, battling it out. And hate's a goner. He's down for the count.
Thanks for the rec.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
Yeah, I'm glad it came together. Awesome conversation. You want to do some questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do some questions then from the Sardonicast community. Head over to the suggestion thread over on the subreddit. If you want to leave questions for future episodes, just like Pelican122, who says, thoughts on the COO of Pixar, Pete Docter, who also directed many of their classics, saying, with the removal of the queer storyline from Elio, we're making a movie, not hundreds of millions of dollars of therapy. So I was reading through the full context of this in a Guardian article earlier. Do you want me to read the excerpt of that?
Yeah, I literally just made a video about it.
Oh, nice.
Like a skit about this, yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it before this article came out in my Oscar video that's not out yet.
Yeah, because like it was a discussion around Elio, obviously, but this is like a direct acknowledgement from Pete Docter about it. So yeah, Doctor was speaking to the Wall Street Journal in the wake of the successful release of Pixar's latest film Hoppers, which opened at #1 at the North American box office this weekend. Rumors of internal dissent over the LGBT-related content emerged in 2022 after publications of a letter signed by the LGBT employees of Pixar and their allies claimed their studio executives had barred moments of gay affection from films before they were released. The letter read, "We at Pixar have personally witnessed beautiful stories full of diverse characters come back from Disney, corporate reviews shaved down to crumbs of what they once were." It added, "Nearly every moment of overtly gay affection is cut at Disney's behest. Even if creating LGBTQIA+ content was the answer to fixing the discriminatory legislation in the world, we are being barred from creating it." The letter followed Pixar parent company Disney's lukewarm response to Florida's Don't Say Gay legislation, banning teaching about sexual orientation and gender identity until 4th grade, which was passed in 2022. When asked about the issue, Doctor replied, "We're making a movie, not hundreds of millions of dollars of therapy." Thoughts?
Coming from the guy who directed Inside Out.
Oh yeah, that is the kicker, isn't it? Which, yeah, like how the fuck do you circle that square in your own head?
Strange philosophy on filmmaking, right? Like, aren't the best films kind of like that's like what you want to happen in a way, for it to feel like a true, like something internal being expressed in like an honest and true way, something real coming from someone.
It is kind of funny because the way he talks about it, it's almost as if he thinks that there's something cynical and inauthentic in having a story that is personal to someone, right? He's like, no, it has to be relatable to only one type of person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't make something that expresses something outside the boundaries of what we've decided is the one thing that everybody should be. We need a monoculture where everybody's the exact same, right?
Yeah.
It's propaganda when you show 0.1% of when 0.1% of your media is showcasing identities that are not the one identity. That's propaganda. It's not propaganda to censor anything but one identity. Okay. You're indoctrinating my children.
They're not making Pillion as a Pixar movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like a character has a crush on a boy. Like,
if you looked at the Critical Drinker subreddit when Elio was flopping, you would think that they made Pillion into a Pixar movie. Like, that's how people were talking about it, even though they didn't even watch the movie. And they were reacting to a tweet of a person saying that it was a gay movie, even though they removed all the gay shit from it. And if we get down into the details, the gay shit was just implied in the original film anyway. It was like, oh, he likes fashion, and there's like a photo on a wall at one point showcasing like a future version of him where it implies he's in a relationship with someone of the same gender, and that's it. But they got so fucking
look at the reaction
scared.
to Lightyear, though.
Exactly. They got so fucking scared when Lightyear was a flop because these fucking Karens online that were going like, oh, you're kissing in the movie. And it got banned in several countries too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because of one same-gender kiss,
Single kiss,
that was fucking 5 seconds.
Hidden in the background, basically.
Not even, like 1 second in like a fucking transitionary scene.
You blink and you miss it.
And they just freaked out about this. And so, you know...
Lightyear was a flop because it was boring as shit, because they were trying to do a Toy Story movie.
It's because it was fucking generic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's the opposite takeaway. Like, you want something that doesn't feel like the same movie you've already seen 8 billion times if you're making a kids property especially, right? Like, kids properties are like the only genre right now where like you can make an original story and it still does well. Like, you have that freedom where it doesn't have to be an existing IP. Existing IP is for people that want to experience nostalgia, which if you're doing that you're probably over the age of 10. Right?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. You know, I don't know anything about Pete Docter, but, you know, he's the head of Pixar now. But it's like, it's clearly this is all a posture of cowardice and being scared. And Disney is directing them to do this and water down their films. Because it's not that they... the fact that they are doing this is making their movies more generic. And that's what is making them worse, because you're taking the personal creativity out of it that was so special about. I mean, look at a movie like WALL-E. Like, that's a weird movie,
It's woke.
Like, it's woke, a very woke movie, right? And if that came out today, oh wow, they'd have a lot to say about it, right? But
that was another.
This is the issue with Disney and with any of these corporations, especially now during, let's say, Trump 2.0 era, where now everyone's like, oh, the culture's changed, we got to react to this, right? And you see a lot of cowardice from Disney, especially fucking Disney, which has never been
the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst. But it's like this cowardice to be like, if you budge at all, if you show any movement towards like giving into the loudest, most annoying chuds on the internet, right? You're not going to win anything from that, you're not gaining anything.
Yeah, they were never seeing your movie anyway.
They weren't seeing it anyway.
You removed the woke shit and it still flopped. Go unwoke, go broke.
They're not a real contingent of people. Exactly. And it's the second you start, it's this thing with like the Rise of Skywalker. It's like, how did that work out for you? Walking back all the complaints that they had about The Last Jedi. Like, it's just, have some fucking balls. Make the movie. Let them make the movies and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's like,
they're just so risk averse, right?
Capitulating to people who are never watching the movie anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if the people that have the power over what films get made and how they are not people who are directly involved in art, right? I mean, Pete Docter directed Inside Out, but it seemed like he wasn't really very strongly a part of the production of Elio, right? Like, it seems like a lot of the response, potentially he's maybe just taking the blame for it, because Pixar, even if you're president of Pixar, you're a subsidiary of Disney at the end of the day, right? You're literally just taking orders from Big Mouse, and you got to assume that whoever's calling the shots there probably is stupid enough to think that, like, oh wait, did Lightyear fail because it was too woke?
That was the problem.
Like that, yeah. I mean, that's just kind of how systems are organized.
Mm-hmm. And like, the downstream effect of like these social media algorithms and the way people talk about stuff online and how like incongruent it is with making good art, really, with the way this stuff bubbles to the top. It's so infuriating the way, like all the oxygen put into like that Lightyear thing that's just such a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So
literally
what are
nothing.
We doing? Like, it's like, who's actually inflaming this when you actually like go and look at these accounts and figure out
Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Like...
She was fucking in charge of all these fucking subreddits too. She talked with Moot.
Yes,
she talked with Moot to create Poll.
Do it.
They created Poll to get people all mad at each other about culture war nonsense to distract from the fact that billionaires are creating a fucking class war and have been fucking at war with us for so fucking long, making us think that we're our own enemies. Bro, there's one minority that is responsible for the destruction of everything that you love, and that's them, the fucking pedophile billionaire elite. Wake the fuck up! Hi, I'm tired.
Wow. Or did you think maybe it's just if they took the gay kiss out of Lightyear, it would have done better? I mean, it's either one or the other.
I hear brown people are bad.
I hear that too, but I don't know.
Now my whole worldview comes from like Russian bots that want to make me mad.
And it's all about children. And this is kind of brings back to the Night of the Hunter, because it's like, it's all of this is some philosophy of, we're protecting the children. It's the thing with the trans panic. It's weapons. All of these things. It's about the children. They shouldn't be seeing this.
I hear trans people are bad.
They shouldn't be exposed to this. And it's like, if you cared about children, you'd want them to have free lunches, like it's just.
Simpsons was like parodying this shit in the 90s,
Why aren't white people having more children? And also, I don't want to support any policy that would make people comfortable having children and feel financially able to.
I'm glad this isn't a political podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad politics doesn't affect anything. Politics is coming for you, buddy. Whoever's in the comments section. Politics is coming for you whether you like it or not.
But, Hoppers is doing well because it's anti-woke.
Yeah.
That's the difference. I don't know. Have you guys seen Hoppers?
No, I'll see it soon.
No, I was at a furry convention.
Okay, that's fitting.
No, I'll see it.
Yeah.
It's reviewing well.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
All right. Well,
Damn, yeah, how do you follow that guy up?
next question.
Okay, let's do this one. This nice calming topic. Goosey McGooseface. No, Goosey McGooseface 2. What are your thoughts on gambling? Do you enjoy a flutter yourselves?
Ah,
Do you
dang
agree
it.
that there is an epidemic of gambling shops on our high streets and endless gambling ads all over TV and the internet? It's something I find quite upsetting.
I'm just glad there's one more way that rich people can siphon money from poor people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It's not a coincidence that a lot of like just talking about the UK right now, a lot of the high streets in my country that are like, they're like bare at this point, like post-COVID and everything, and Amazon and Bezos like moving all of that money online. All high streets now are just like gambling shops, and the people that go in there, and like when I worked in retail for a bit, I worked at the stand where you sold like cigarettes and lotto tickets, and there's like, God, it was fucking depressing. Like you see these people, like these mothers with their little kids coming in like every day and dropping all this money, and for this, like they've figured out how to monetize hope. It's so fucked. And now it's like in your pocket, and you have a casino in your pocket at all times and everything, including like adverts on TV before you go to the movies. Like everything is about that, you know. Like you can bet on the Oscars, you can bet on who's going to be president. Like, yeah, we've been joking about Polymarket in the past few episodes, but like, yeah, that's what Adam was saying. It is just another way of funneling wealth away.
Yeah. And those types of ads where they try to get at like an emotional fantasy of like, oh, what if you had enough money? Like those are directly targeted at people that are struggling, trying to get them to literally just gamble their money away. Like it's fucking evil.
Yeah, it's either that or like, are you against fun? What? You think we're just having fun, guys? It's just fun. What's wrong with having a little fun? I feel like that's what I see all the time in the gambling ads too. No, it's disgusting. I mean, what else is there to say? It's just like,
I'm gambling.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, on the Oscars.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say like which platform, and like it's not an ad, right? Like I do these things, but you got to make sure to like not do it all the fucking time, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to a casino outside of like being in Vegas or Reno or whatever. Or like a friend's birthday if they decide to have it at a casino or something. My advice for people, don't gamble any money that you're not completely comfortable losing.
Yeah.
You consider it gone the moment you take the bet. Otherwise, you shouldn't be gambling. Like it has to be money that you're comfortable just throwing away.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just so glad. Out of all the things I enjoy, like dopamine farming, like gambling just doesn't really do it for me. And I thank God for that every day.
Oh, you should try slots.
Holy shit, dude! Like it's like a fast track way to like ruin your life if you're truly addicted to it. Like I can't remember what the stat is, but it's like 80% of like gambling wealth is earned by like 5% of people or something like this. If I said that right? Yeah, it's so fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, where our whole social media and everything online is gambling, essentially. You know, it's gamifying every interaction you could possibly have to be addictive. And it's like, hey, we're the product of that. Although the rare successful product of that, where we're all addicted to the YouTube algorithm. You know, we're addicted to, YouTube on some level. You have to be able to like gain a following on social media. So it's like it's all tied together, and it's just part of our culture. And it's like there are responsible ways to do it, but the way, like, you watch the Golden Globes and it's like a Kalshi ad on the bottom of it the whole time, like prediction markets.
Even on awards ceremonies, they're doing the gambling ads now.
Golden Globes, the bottom of the thing, the whole time they were showing predictions for who would win.
Oh no!
You know, yeah,
that's funny.
No, that was it. Yeah, that the amount of sectors that when they like twigged on that. Integrating gambling psychology, into social media algorithms, into video games, into all this stuff
Online
Like,
shopping.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, online shopping, all of it. It's a net negative for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know. That's our controversial take.
Yeah.
Let's see if F1 wins Best Picture.
That would be so wild.
You bet $10, you win $2,000.
Whoa.
But you also have to expect you're not going to win, right?
Yeah.
How mad would you be if F1 won Best Picture?
Not that mad because I would win $2,000.
I think it would just be very funny. I mean,
It would be kind of funny, just like, okay.
It would be a better win than Hamnet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
know about that one.
For like feeling not mad about it.
I think Frankenstein winning Best Picture would probably be the funniest.
Yeah, I don't know. I know F1 would be the funniest one for sure. F1 would be like, why did we even care about the Oscars? Like everybody would just like kind of laugh about the fleeting existence of time, you know. Like, we're all just here for the ride.
I mean, I'm already kind of there to a degree with like it's fun, like in a frivolous kind of way, but like I don't think it like elevates a film for me if it wins an Oscar, you know, like there's like a pomp to it.
I like artists that I like getting easier time funding their next projects.
Yeah, that's the best thing about it for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, next question.
Let's do this one from Exploding Ninja. 3 of the 4 hosts of this podcast have, at some point in time, been part of the angry reviewer trope that used to be very prevalent on YouTube. Why do you think this trope was so popular? And do you think it's dying out? I don't think it's dying out. I just think it's been like moved in kind of a
politicized,
a cultural direction. Like especially with the there was something a bit more. I feel like in jest or like understood back in the day that there was something like a real behind it, like an actual like opinion maybe, instead of like I'm like I could just be like a bad faith grifter and just like grind out content on like a film thing
that
make loads and loads and loads of money.
That's not exclusive to the genre. When YouTube first started, it was a bunch of creatives wanting to express something. Now it's a bunch of people looking for money, trying to game the algorithm to make the most money. And so that you see that reflected in the content, you see that reflected in the thumbnails and titles and clickbait. You see that reflected in the sponsorship ads that people take. You see that reflected in the pacing of the videos, the subjects that people cover, and the opinions that people have. Like a lot of it is just fucking fake. Like it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's an interesting persona, you know, like the angry thing. It's just, but I think it was just kind of like a trend, right? Because ultimately, like you guys aren't just mad about things. Like you guys are covering lots of different things, and people want your perspective. I think there's like people understood that, you know, like when one side was persona, one side wasn't.
It's my anima.
But then again, sometimes people are bad at you know, delineating those things.
I guess, yeah, there's a difference between having like a genuine opinion where you are mad and people like that passion,
right, and
trying to piss people off in order to get attention, I guess, you
know. Critical drinker.
Yeah. I mean, like there's a nuance to it in the sense that like if I know I have an opinion already that is authentic and genuine and a real thing, then I'm, you know, if there's one that I know people want to hear and might be even controversial, then I'm more likely to express it in a way where, you know, like maybe the thumbnail or the title is still honest, but very much aware of like what type of reaction people might have and leaning into that while still not being inauthentic. Whereas, yeah, a lot of people on the platform at this point, they're literally just, what do I do to make money? Oh, this is my job. Cool. Making money. And that's it. Like that's literally the goal is to maximize profits.
How do you guys feel about like the persona of Your Movie Sucks and I Hate Everything as it's like evolved over time, and like do you feel constrained in some ways by that like attitude, that expectation people have of you to be like, you know, have more of a character when you're reviewing things, or like how do you guys approach that?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't feel like I'm putting on a performance when I'm at my like funniest rants about like the new Avatar or like, you know, Lion King or anything. Like it just kind of comes out. It's like in terms of audience expectation, I think that me over the course of me existing on the platform have consistently been talking about and recommending films I enjoy as well. You know, my best of the year list videos and festival videos and all that. So I don't feel like I'm persuaded in a particular direction. Like, I don't feel like there's audience capture going on, especially because the people that are real fans of me, the people on my subreddit, the people on my Patreon, Discord, whatever, they know that what I'm selling is authenticity, right? So there's a lot of people that watch me knowing that they'll disagree with me on something, or if they're caught off guard that I have a different perspective on something, they're not just immediately like pissed off about it. They go like, oh yeah, that's why I watch you, is because I know that you're saying something that you believe, not pretending to say what you think people might want to hear at any given moment in time.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. I guess what like I underestimated when I was 19 and made the channel was how like literal a lot of people take things. Because my whole like I like at the time it was like I'm inspired by like the cynical Brit, you know, like Total Biscuit, you know, like Mark Kermode and Charlie Brooker and these kinds of people where it's like, yeah, there is a part of it where it's in jest, it's for fun, it's like channeling that energy for like a level of entertainment. But like, you know, the internet is gone. And the way people, you know, the media literacy kind of side of it, I don't know, but it doesn't really bother me. Like, I'm fine with that. I don't really care how people like interpret or charge my opinions based on the branding. Like, that's whatever. It's your problem. If you don't like it, you don't have to engage with it. Like, that's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that like if I was having difficulty like getting press credentials at film festivals or something, then I would change my branding more. But it's nice to know that like my presence overall among people that actually, you know, are involved in the film industry, making films. You know, I'm the majority of the people that know about me in those circles know what I am, and I'm not just like a fucking thumbnail that people are raging out at on Twitter or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like those are people that are not really involved in filmmaking, and if they are kind of like bitter people that wish that people were watching the things that they were making, or you know, oftentimes, you know, if you see like a really bizarre, unhinged quote tweet, you look at their profile and it's like, what's the first thing there? Oh, their Letterboxd page that nobody follows, right? So you have to imagine that they're just people like, why do they listen to this guy's opinions? And you should be listening to my opinions. Like, okay. Yeah,
there's a lot of. Don't look at the comments on Letterboxd ever. That's, you know,
I don't have a Letterboxd.
I know. No,
they're kind of funny sometimes. Like,
it's unhinged.
So unhinged.
No, it's like people are so very, 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 very personal about when you don't like something they like, you know. And it's just like I do think that comes with maturity over the years of just like, hey, it's good when you disagree on things. Like,
I think that's good. Yeah, and like you want a range of opinions, like, as well. That's what I just don't get. It's like if you're outside of certain bounds on something, then it's an issue or like some kind of drama, quote unquote, in any way. And it's like, I don't know. It just feels like a fundamental misunderstanding of what is supposed to be like fun and sort of silly and not that serious about.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, art is serious, but like, it's like let's be relative about this, okay? Like, you don't know who I am. It's like an anonymous voice online. Like, why is that getting to you to such a degree? You know, like what's going on there?
Alex, it really hurt me when you gave The Lion King a 7.
I bumped up.
It's not enough.
So, damn, I guess we've got to end the show.
Wait, you gave it a 7?
I did at the episode. I did.
That's crazy. That's like if Adam gave Night of the Hunter a 6. That'd piss me off.
Damn.
Good questions. I don't know. Do we have time for one more?
Let's do a quick one, winding down with this one from Empty Law 52. This one's for Jake. Did you hear about Brandon Sanderson's adaptations being greenlit by Apple TV? Specifically, Mistborn is set to be a movie. Sanderson already in the process of writing the script, and Stormlight is supposedly going to be a live-action TV show. Seeing as you're a fan of the books, do you have any thoughts on this? What are some casting choices you'd like to see? Or Sanderson has already said to have creative control on his IP adaptation that's never been seen before, making this truly a never-seen-before type of deal for such a massive IP that is in the cosmere. Personally, if done correctly, I feel like this has the potential of really becoming a cultural phenomenon as big as something like Marvel, while also being as good and faithful of an adaptation as Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Any thoughts on that, Jake?
Have you guys heard about this? You guys know about Brandon Sanderson?
No, I don't know this story. Is there like a brief like elevator pitch?
The name is really familiar. Who are they again?
So he's a huge fantasy author. None of his work has been adapted.
Okay.
So he's kind of unique in that way. He's built a huge fandom, very successful. And yeah, I have read a few of his books, and I like the Stormlight Archive and stuff. And I did reviews of his work, like early on YouTube. So I love Brandon Sanderson. He's I met him. He's super nice. Guy. So this is super exciting. I get why people are excited about this. The fact that he has so much control over it. It seems like the kind of thing that him and their team have been pushing towards getting all along, because of fears of like it becoming something like The Witcher. There's so many ways it could go badly.
Right.
So I'm hesitantly optimistic. Like, on one level, it's great that he has huge control over the show. However, it is still like a different beast, and his expertise is in writing novels. So it's just a different thing. And I like the optimism of this commenter being like, hey, is this going to be this could be the next Lord of the Rings. And respectfully, no, I think that time has passed. I think there's a one and only Lord of the Rings, and I don't think we're going to get that again. But It could be popular, and it could build momentum, and people could be fans of it. But also, it's going to be on Apple TV, and how popular can something on Apple TV get?
Setting next Lord of the Rings as a potential expectation for anything is probably
no.
not going to leave you fulfilled.
I think it'll be better than the Wheel of Time show, and I'm hoping it's better than lots of other shows. And I hope it gets a kind of following. But yeah, I think it's good to be realistic about it. And hopefully it's good. That'd be awesome. I would love to see a good Stormlight show and Mistborn movie.
Dank. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you.
Whose rec is it?
Recommendation? I think it's mine. Right? I'll take it.
Right. Wait. I always forget the order.
Is it mine?
I just know it's not me. I just know Amy.
Wait. No, yeah, I was Sorcerer, then it was...
Yeah.
It's Adam.
1994, What Happened Was, is the title. Written and directed by Tom Noonan, recently passed away.
Oh.
Never seen it?
I've never heard of this.
Never heard of it? Okay. It's...
okay.
Supposedly, it meant a lot to Charlie Kaufman. And Tom Noonan played Sammy in Synecdoche, New York.
Yeah.
So we're checking it out.
Cool.
Should have checked it out before, but
exciting.
So many of those.
Time be passing.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. If you don't want to be spoiled for What Happened Was, watch it before the next episode. These episodes come out every 2 weeks. You can listen to them early. Go to sardonicast.com. Sign up for premium. It's only a few bucks a month, and it's also ad-free. You can get the exact same thing by going to patreon.com/sardonicast, or click the button below on YouTube, join the members thing. The episodes are posted ad-free in the community tab, because YouTube is weird, and we're not going to explain it every time. Hit the bell. You'll find the stuff there. subscribe to the Sardonicast highlights channel as well. And I guess this message is mostly for you people that are already members and premium and patrons. But I believe we got both the Sards joining for my Oscars live stream.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This episode will be public the day after, I guess. So if you're listening early, then you got the scoop, man. So that's another reason to get premium. Okay, you get the scoop before everybody else.
I just realized how weird it's going to be, how all of our speculating about how funny it'd be if F1 won Best Picture, how now people listening to this are going to know.
Yeah. Well, they should have signed up for premium.
Yeah, they should have.
So true. So true.
That's their fault.
They're in the wrong order. They're in the wrong timeline. Okay? Go to patreon.com/Sardonicast if you want to get into the right timeline and escape the wrong timeline. Y'all are in the Berenstain universe.
You need to be in the Berenstein universe.
Yeah. Or the Epstein universe.
We're already there.
That's the one we're in, unfortunately.
All right. Have a happy Epstein didn't kill himself, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.